All right, we're up. We're alive. We're alive and we are live. My wife yelled at me this morning because I kept hitting snooze on my alarm. She was like, why don't you just turn it off? Hey, what's up? I'm Trapped. Good to see you. How are you? Oh, whoops. That's an old message. Hey, what's up, Kale? Good morning. Hey, the Goblin hoodie. Oh, you like that? Yeah, this is my coffee Goblin hoodie. Another one of my N=1 merch. Hello, Fanberg. Good to see you. How are you? Nice to see you. My agents have been working for 25 minutes. No idea what they're doing, but now I am here. Well, you know, I guess that's how you do things these days. You just turn agents loose and hope for the best. Build or not to build? Let's see what you got. You really like your C puns, Gunhighs. You really like your C puns. Didn't realize how much you were going to enjoy that. See me here for the stream again. Good morning, Thunder Deer. Good to see you. How are you? How's life? Excuse me. Puns overall. Well, yeah, puns are fun. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If it works, I get to observe and ask why it works. If it doesn't, RIP tokens. Yeah, I mean, it's I've seen a lot of memes on Twitter about engineers saying that they're working another day at the prompt factory. So basically now we have the prompt factory, and then engineers leave from the prompt factory and they go home to the prompt casino. And they just ping pong back and forth between those two things. And that's how software is built now. I can't wait till they, you know, think forward in like 100 years and they're telling the story, or they're trying to explain this time in the world to our children, and someone's like, and then they thought of this idea called loop engineering. That's what I like the most about AI, getting to explore things I haven't seen before that I can then rearrange later. I mean, it's not untrue. It's not untrue. It's not untrue at all. I think the thing that I'm always the most concerned with still, like, I know, like, it's one thing for fun, right? It's one thing to fuck around and find out type of situation. But I think I'm just always in the back of my mind thinking, am I really capable of this, or is the model just capable? You know what I mean? I'm constantly questioning, like, am I fraud? You know, is the model making me think I'm more capable of stuff than I really am? I don't know. I was thinking about it last night, and I was kind of thinking about how, like, so my past life, I was very, very deep and heavy into the fitness world and the fitness industry, and I still am to some extent. It's one of my favorite things. I love working out. I love training. I love all that nerdy exercise science stuff. But one thing I kept thinking about the other day was, you know, it's basically scientifically proven at this point that if you want to get jacked and ripped in the most efficient way possible and strong in the most efficient way possible, you should take steroids. But we've largely decided that the risk to reward ratio between the side effects of steroids and the benefits of them is not good enough to justify it, right? And I kind of wonder if we're going to find out something similar to AI and its effect on our mental well-being. I'm kind of suspicious that at some point we're gonna be like, you know what? Actually, this thing makes us really fast and really capable, or the appearance of capable, but it's actually devastating for our mental acuity. I'm not an educated senior like you. I just know syntax. I wouldn't say I'm an educated senior. I don't even know what senior and junior means, because sometimes I see people who have junior titles and I'm like, man, this person's a rock star. And then I see people with senior titles and I think, yeah, I don't know about that one. You know, I don't even know what those adjectives have. Those adjectives have more to do with like pay scale than anything else, you know? That topic was actually described in Star Trek. Our programming was categorized as ancient programming. We're on a good way to handle our stuff like computer, do this and this. So right now we're calling it trad coding, but in a little while it's going to be called ancient coding, ancient programming. Guys, we will sit and watch the Claude speak. Come, gather around. See me work on my AI workflow. Come, I will talk to the LLM. I will show you how you speak the words of magic. Claude, explain loop engineering. Because I find it hard to just jump into big open source projects and understand everything that's going on. But if the AI has built a small thing in my code base, I already understand. Hey man, I totally get what you're saying. AI is an enabler for sure. Anyways, my 5,173 lines minus 1,704 lines of code just arrived. Now I will try to build it. Good luck, Vanberg. I tried that Z-Link library that I mentioned yesterday. It's great, but it feels like lazy evaluation. Well, that's kind of what you want, right? With Link in general. Isn't Link deferred execution by default? I guess unless you call toList on it. Excuse me. Okay. Well, I did my homework last night. Let's see. In iNumeral types, yes, but list sticks, and so are in KT. Yep, that lines up with what I thought. I basically made a program for Windows, mostly from scratch, and I don't know much about Linux, so I basically just told it to please make it work on Linux. Please make it work on Linux. No mistakes. Go fast. Godspeed. So I can't even review it. Well, you know, I mean, who am I to tell you how to live your life? You know, that's... But list sticks and so are not. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Alrighty, well, I did my homework and we are going to try to take care of handling input today and hopefully the rest of the instructions. So I went through, I made a list of everything we hadn't yet, what do you call it? Hadn't yet implemented. So we've got to go through and do these. And then we need our keyboard input, which I made a little diagram. Let me get it real quick. A little bit of a visual. I think visuals are helpful. So helpful. Okay, so this will be our QWERTY keyboard, and this is the original CHIP-8. Get this little bit of formatting. Alrighty. So we must handle the inputs. What are you doing this morning, Stephen, while I'm handling inputs? Do you handle the inputs? Do you do the input handling? So based on my research, there is a function called isKeyDown. isKeyDown, and it comes from raylib. Comes from raylib. Raylib isKeyDown. And we can use this to check to see if a key's been pressed. Fanberg, I respect trad coders like you. I decided to set aside some time to do trad coding every day so I don't just LLM max. I mean, honestly, Fanberg, the thing is we joke about it. We joke about it a lot, you know, and it's in good fun. I mean, sure, there's some like deeper, I guess, philosophical questions about it, you know, but I mean, it's all in good fun. If you want to vibe code and use LLMs to build stuff and you're having fun and you're getting stuff done and hopefully you're not, you know, creating some sort of security vulnerability in software, people, you know, as long as you're not doing harmful things to other people, I say it's your life, man. I mean, I'm a random dad in Kansas. Like, what the fuck do I know? You know, I'm just trying to raise my kids, put money in my bank account so I can retire and get to the end of the road, you know? So just take everything I say, I guess, with kind of a grain of salt, you know? I think we can coexist, right? We can have people who want to do agentic swarms and crazy AI agentic engineering stuff like Web Dev Cody does over on his new channel, and that's awesome and cool, and he's excited and fired up. And then, you know, we can have people like me who like to go slow and methodical, and they like to read their code and understand what's going on. You know what I mean? We can have it. We can have it. We can have both things, right? And one doesn't have to eat or demean the other. I want to do both. If I do vibe coding only, I'm going to feel terrible. Yeah, dude. I mean, again, it's your life, man. Do what you want, right? Life is too short to live your life based on other people's conclusions. Steve Jobs had that right? So you can't live life based on other people's dogma. My software is mostly local tooling, so there's no security concerns there. Well, good, yeah. As long as you're confident, man. I mean, like I said, if you feel good about it, nobody's getting harmed. I've got nothing to say, you know. Unless one tries to mean the other. Yes, 100%. That's where I kind of like. That's where for me a little bit of the dad energy comes out. Like if vibe coders are, you know, walking across the street to point at the trad coder and say, "You idiot, you Luddite, don't you understand?" Like that's the kind of behavior that then it's like, "Fuck you, buddy," you know. But yeah, other than that, yeah, you're not gonna get much contention from me. Yeah, I mean, Kale, I think you have to be, especially like someone like you who's early in career, or someone like me who's like in kind of I would say I'm in the maybe second quarter of my career, and I have a family. I have 3 human beings counting on me to provide. You have to stay aware of the tools. Like you can't not use the tools. You can't not be able to talk about them or have experiences. Like that would be irresponsible, right? So I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not using them to some extent. But I think it's the context and it's the intention behind it. I think that matters the most to me at this moment, at least. I made a short the other day, and I said it on stream where I think I've moved from this place of, is AI capable of producing good software, and can I use AI to produce good software, to this place of I think I'm most concerned about my own capability and AI's effect on it. You know, and I'm trying to thread the needle. I'm trying to navigate that in a way where AI doesn't destroy or limit, or maybe degrade any of my existing abilities. Yeah, mainly tedious jobs. It's great for that. It's great for documentation. It's great for boilerplate. I still think one of my favorite ways to work with AI is, and I mentioned this yesterday, I think I said that, you know, I think I'm a bigger believer now than I was probably even a week ago, that AI is far superior to search for getting information, for finding things, for doing reviews of things. I think as long as you treat the AI always with a good, healthy dose of skepticism and trust but verify kind of attitude, one of the most enjoyable things for me to do with AI is to use it sort of a read-only mode, particularly in like an agentic setting of like, ask it questions and have it find things, have it locate things, have it review things, right? That use of it is really positive for me personally. I think whenever I cross the boundary into trying to have it author complete solutions, that's where things start to get fuzzy for me personally. I use search and LLMs. I mean, yes, there's nothing wrong with good old-fashioned search for sure, but I think the last week or so of me just restricting myself to DuckDuckGo, I've realized that, oh wow, this is it's not terrible, and I think that the friction that this experience creates is probably the best for learning, because you're forced to read, you're forced to comprehend, you're forced to go and seek out exactly what it is you're looking for in one way or another. So there's a little bit of friction it introduces between you and the answer. But in terms of going from, I need the answer correct right now at this very moment, LLMs are a far better solution to that. Especially because sometimes you're asking questions or you're searching for answers that are to questions that are sort of kind of like what somebody else had, but not exactly. And so the benefit with the LLM is it can sort of, again, customize and dynamically provide you an answer that's very tailored to your exact thing that you're looking at that time. So I think I'm a bigger believer in the search use case now than ever. Or I guess information retrieval. I don't even know how you want to say that. Information retrieval, information summarization. I think what I'd really like to have is just something like one of these agentic harnesses. Like all these agent harnesses have plan mode, but what I really want is I just want like review and read mode. Like I don't want the agent to always be trying to create a plan, but I don't want the AI to be constantly be trying to build either. I really just want the AI, if I ask it a question, to be able to like quickly provide me information about the thing I'm working on or review the thing I'm working on, right? It's some sort of like custom read-only mode sort of thing. I know a lot of people use plan mode for that, but in my experience, whenever you put the agent in plan mode, it wants to plan, right? And sometimes I don't want it to just sit and think and generate 750 words for me to read, right? I just want it to like very quickly go and find all the locations where I did XYZ pattern, right? Maybe we should build that. Maybe we should find a way to integrate with one of those agent harnesses and build that custom mode. Feels great when I ask agent to review and it says looks good to me. I don't know. I'm just always so skeptical. I'm so skeptical. I've been burned so many times by trusting the LLM. You know, I'm always just like, ah. There's also this really funny thing that happens when you're using like when you're doing reviews of your code or asking the LLM to review your code. It's funny because if you keep running it like review, it keeps finding stuff, and you're just sitting there and you're thinking, why didn't you find that on the first review, right? Or oh, what? And then at some point you do start to get some decay, and they start to then generate these false positives, and almost like really nitty gritty tic tacky things. But yeah, it completely degrades my trust in the things, you know, because it never exactly, Kel, it's exactly that. It's because it's not doing what we perceive it to be doing. Yeah, it's 100% like colleagues and coworkers you have. It really is. But it gives you the feeling that it's reading, right? It gives you the appearance of comprehension and understanding, right? But it's really this probabilistic grab bag, right? Which is, again, it's like it's wonderfully useful at times, and then it's horribly horribly disappointing at other. Yeah, I mean, fam, I agree. Like, as someone who works on a lot of solo projects, I love the fact that I have something like a reviewer on hand at all times, right? Hey, I've been working on this thing for the last hour. Can you just review all my changes? Give me your thoughts, right? Love that. Love that. But yeah, but I'm always skeptical, always suspicious of it. Fake it till you make it with a bit of keyword searching. Yeah. If I want a proper answer, I'll ask like 5 models at once. That's a good approach to some adversarial stuff. Yep. All right, let's build a little function to handle our keys. So that was, or I guess what I was looking at there, just for reference, is this is the function we're going to use. So we have is key down, and then we have these constants that we can pass to, and this is all provided by ArrayLib. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. So let's go over to, oh, that's the buffers. Okay. We also have to add stuff to our memory. So we need uint8t, which is going to be our keys. We're going to have 16 of them. I trust it for some tasks, but not for others. But I have backup, so if it deletes my code base, I'll be okay. So Fanberg, I'm not sure what your setup is, but if you have Windows and you enable Hyper-V, right? If you have WSL and Docker and you enable Hyper-V, and of course, depending on what kind of hardware you're working with, you could use Hyper-V to even just create little virtual machines, you know, say 4 GB RAM, or if you've got enough 8 GB RAM virtual machines, and just isolate everything inside that virtual machine. That's a pretty easy, low effort way to go about if you ever worried about that. I mean, if you have backups and you're good, then, you know, on your local, no worries. Just doing the Python one as quick as possible. I have back or oh no, I read that already. Yeah, you can make WSL VMs run sandboxes. Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a really it's just a low. It's kind of, it doesn't require a lot of complexity. You know, Hyper-V's UI is very similar to like virtual boxes. That's already built into Windows and pull down whatever ISO you want to work with. I was thinking about doing that to try out Omarchi for a little while on stream. Spin up a VM and use the Omarchi ISO and give that a week or two of regular use. Okay, you'd like Proxmox. So I have a friend. It's actually my wife's uncle. So it's a weird thing. He's not that much older than us. He's like 2 or 3 years older than us, but he's technically her uncle. But he's in IT, sysadmin, DevOpsy roles, and he swears by Proxmox. And I've never myself installed it or set it up. I guess I've never thought I had enough hardware to really make it useful. Because I guess I figure, man, I need enough kind of just raw underlying cores and enough raw underlying RAM to really be able to, I guess, segregate it in a meaningful way that it would actually be useful, rather than just leaving me with like tiny little underpowered, boxes, virtual boxes, I guess. But I should give it a try. You're 100% right. I would love it. You want a DevOpsy role? Yeah, that's what he's been chasing for the last. He finally landed. He worked at the same place I do work. So he doesn't work there anymore, but he did for quite a while. And he moved into a DevOps role while he was there. He was started as a sysadmin and moves into DevOps. And then he's since left and gone to a couple different companies. And he's liking what he's doing. Yeah, he really enjoys that type of work, which I think is great. Good morning, Justin. Good to see you. Happy Saturday. Hope you're starting it well. You can also run LVMs and containers in it. Yeah. Maybe that's the next evolution of the home lab server. Is to, because right now I just have a Ubuntu box that runs Ubuntu server on it, and it is like an old Dell Optiplex. But maybe the next time we upgrade that, which given the current prices of hardware might be another 5 years or so. I don't know, but whenever that gets upgraded, maybe we turn that into a Proxmox box. We could do that on stream or something. And I think that would be awesome. Yeah, I think that would be great. Now I run 2 ProDes, 2 Optiplexes, but RAM is 999 AUD. Yeah, it's unbelievable, man. It's actually frustrating, is what it is. It's just, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to say something, and I know somebody's going to call me a conspiracy theorist, but at this point, I'm also sort of suspicious that there might be a little bit of collusion going on amongst the companies. Or maybe not even collusion, but like intentional, not suppression, but delay of capacity. I just don't understand how you can sustain. I mean, we're going on what, a year and a half or 18 months now of these elevated prices. I just don't understand. If there's that much demand in the system, you would think you'd be rushing to find more supply. And I get it. I mean, it's complicated supply chain and it's very capital intensive and all those things. But god dang, man, I don't really get it. I don't really get it. I think a heavy might, yeah. Like COVID toilet paper. Yeah, I guess maybe I'm less saying that people are intentionally conspiring to keep prices high, but maybe what I'm more of saying is there isn't a huge motivation to run or rush to increase supply because the companies are benefiting right now from these high prices. Bad news, my agents failed the task. No way. No way, man. Agents building something not how you wanted it? No way. It only works on my Windows machine. On Linux, no window pops up. Damn. The easy button failed you. The easy button failed you once again. Cyclical microcosm of the tech market? I guess so. What? What? That makes me think of, have you guys ever seen that clip where, God, I forget that guy's name. What's his name? There's a meme he's in. It's, I feel like you're only here for the zip line. What's this guy's name? He's an actor.
I feel like you're just here for the zip line.
Tim Robinson, that's it. Tim Robinson. What? That's what I was thinking of when you said that.
What's going on?
What are you saying?
What? What are you talking about?
What?
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 What? What? What's going on?
This guy, he's so funny, man. He's so funny. But that's what I was thinking about when Kale said, "What, agents?" That's how exactly I read your message. What? Never. That never happens. Or Will Ferrell. We never do that. Oh no, that's not Will Ferrell. It's oh shoot, what's that movie? God, I can't. My brain's not working this morning. All these references are coming to mind, but I can't remember. It's like you're riling each other up. You're riling each other up. Flip. Oh man, I can't remember the name of it. It's got Zac Efron. No, that's not it. That's a cat video. Zac Efron riling each other up.
Over the years, a theme has emerged at our family gatherings. Everyone's having a good time.
Right.
Things are going.
We're pretty. It was fun up to that point.
To his grandfather's death?
He drew us. Where's the epic?
Apple tea.
Not party ruiner.
Girls,
Oh, I can't find it, dude. But they're like, we never do that. We never ever do that. We never rile each other up.
Love each other. Love each other. That's it.
I'll let you not get
up. We want you guys to love each other.
That's a funny movie. Just generally. Okay, keypad time. All right, so let me pull up the spec too. We've got to do some mapping, some maps. We're mapping over here. No, I can leave that here. I need to pull up the split. Whoops, that's the wrong thing. To-dos. All right, so we have to map 1 to 1. Now that's easy. That's an easy one. So we do chip at keys 1 goes to... We don't rile each other up. We never get riled. Oh, it's the best. It's the best. So funny. All right, let's do 4 at a time, yeah? Okay. So we have 2 goes to 2, 3, and then this is a weird one because this is actually going to be key 4, but it's going to be 4 over here. No, not 4. Is it 4? C is 4? C hexadecimal, the decimal. Sick. It's really coming along. Almost done. Almost done with what? What are you talking about? Oh, you're building a chip in Python? A CHIP-8 emulator? Nice, dude. So we want C, so that's 12. Okay, and then we'll do the next couple. So this is going to be key. Oh no, I'm almost done. Yeah, I'm getting close. We gotta do the inputs, and then we have to figure out sound, I guess, at some point. So this is now going to be key Q, key W, QE, QR, and then this is going to be mapped to 4, 5, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, and D. Yeah, I mean, anything on the cards for a next C project, or you don't think ahead that far? I don't know. I was kind of thinking of a fun project that would be building like, you know how like I play music in the background while I stream? I think it would be cool if I had some sort of visualizer in the terminal for the music. I think that would be kind of cool. And maybe I can even display the output of the visualizer in NeoVim while I work. I think that would be kind of cool. I don't really know how you would accomplish that. I'm assuming C has some way to get the data that's coming out of the audio APIs in Windows. That's way beyond my abilities, but I thought that would be a kind of a cool idea. I mean, the next thing I'm going to do after we finish this is I'm going to go back and finish boot.dev, right? So that's the very next thing. But I think it would still be fun to keep getting better at C, you know, for sure. Yeah, have a little NeoVim window. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, I was thinking that C you could build the executable or the binary or whatever that runs and actually produces the visual, and you just pipe that output into a NeoVim window, kind of like what I did with the NeoVim plugin I just built. I thought that would be kind of fun thing, basically like a wrapper plugin around it. This is gonna be...
Did we just become best friends?
Hey, Excelion. Thank you very much for the sub. That's very kind of you. We want E. C, grab all the systems info, and then Lua interpret that into a little window. Exactly. I don't even think Lua would have to do much interpreting at all. I think I think NeoVim has a terminal buffer out of the box that would probably work. That does all the parsing and anti-escaping and whatnot. But right now it's just a half-cocked idea. It's gonna be 14. And then we've got Z, X, C, and V. So basically all this function's doing essentially is just checking, when we call it, it's just going to check what keys are down and then set entries in our keys array. Key B, key C, key, and then this is going to be A, or no, this is going to be 0. This is A, B, and F. So A is... I know I shouldn't be using a converter. I should know this by heart, but I don't. So A, 0, 11, and finally F, which is 15, correct? Convert. Yes, 15. Okay, I think we got this. That's our update keys function. Now we just have to call this in our loop. So right here, before we do the cycles, we should just say update keys and pass it our chip, like so. And the whole point of that was because we need to implement these next instructions. A little bit of dopamine in the morning. Mark that to off our to-do list. Now we can implement the rest of these opcodes. Haven't done much with actually making actual window things in NeoVim. It's not too difficult. The hardest thing about it is positioning, in my opinion. Just like with anything in UI related, you know, you basically have to make sure, right? Especially if it's a floating window, particularly if you want a floating window, then you have to make sure that you got the positioning right, that you handle the resize event. The Lua API for NeoVim provides all the functionality you need to do it, but obviously it's the math of like, oh, the window resize. Okay, I have to get the total current size of the thing they have open, subtract off whatever amount of, padding or whatever you want, then figure out that size. You know what I mean? It's just the math of positioning a window. The splits are pretty straightforward. The splits are just, you just basically open a split, right? And NeoVim takes care of the rest. Where were we here? Can't you start with writing a function that does that math for you? Yes, 100% you could. Yep. And I'm sure there's probably, if I had to guess, there's probably libs out there that will do it for you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm guessing if you really looked for like NeoVim, NeoVim plugin, you know what I mean? I'm not even sure where you'd start there. I've only ever built this one plugin, and the window positioning was I felt like it was the trickier part of it all. Where is it? Particularly if it's a floating window. So just basically this. right? But like if you're just opening a split, the split's pretty straightforward, right? You're just issuing a command and NeoVim takes care of it. But obviously if you're doing the float, well then you have to figure out, okay, what's the configured width and height, right? All that messy bits. Which I guess it's not that messy, but I remember fiddling with this for quite a while, trying to get it to look correct when I toggle this open. But the Lua API NeoVim is crazy. It's crazy capable. That was my biggest takeaway. It was like basically anything you want to do, you can just do, and there's really nothing standing in your padding remover. Yeah, that could be it as well. Yeah, centerer, right? Positioner. I don't know. Yeah, you could have some function for sure. Okay, so we have to implement 9xy0. Did I not implement that? I don't feel like that's a... I feel like that's something we've already done. Skip the value of x, vx, and vy are compared, or the values of vx and vy are compared. If they are not equal, the program counter is increased. So maybe I didn't do that. Because this is the this is 8.
Did we just become best friends?
Hey, thanks for the follow, Nuchum. Nice username. Like it. Hello, Casablanca. Cheers to you as well. Hope you're doing well on this nice Saturday morning. I guess it could be afternoon or evening, depending on where you are located. But for me, it's morning. Case. This is going to be 9xy0. Trying to organize my browser tabs a little bit here. So we say if chip vx, if vx does not equal, it's not equal chip vy, then we increment chip PC by 2. Okay, skip next if key VX is pressed. Now to conquer chapter 6. See, the value of register I is set to N. Nope. We're on EX9E. 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 Which is going to be what? No, that can't be right. Did I? I'm sorry. Dang, internet's never cooperating, man. I tell you what. That damn internet. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for EX what? EX. This is EX. Or I guess what I'm really looking for is I'm looking for E00. So this would be hex converter E00. Convert. Yeah, that makes more sense. Does it make more sense? Oh, I already have that stubbed out for myself down here. So this should be E00. So this is that number. Then inside here, we have to do some additional checks. Because we have EX9E and then we have EXA1. So if or else if that. Didn't hear what you said. It slipped through the time wormhole of internet buffer. I was just asking what you were talking about when you said now to conquer chapter 6. I didn't know what you were chapter 6 in what. Chapter 6 in wait. So EX9E. Yeah, see, I'm having a hard time understanding when I'm looking at the spec. What am I supposed to be checking in here? So I know I'm on E. Okay, let's just implement the instruction, then we'll figure out what we're supposed to check on. So the instruction is skip next instruction if key with the value of Vx is pressed. Okay, so checks the keyboard, and if the key corresponding to the value of Vx is currently in the down position, PC is increased by 2. So we would have chip PC 2. Hey, I am Trapped. Nice to see you. I am doing well. Yep, it's Saturday. It's actually my son's birthday is this coming week, but we're having his birthday party today, so he's got like 10 of his friends coming over, and we're gonna go to the neighborhood pool, and they'll probably be rambunctious and wild and everything 10-year-old boys should be, you know. And it should be a fun day. You know, hopefully dad won't get frustrated and yell at anybody. Hopefully there will be no appearances of grumpy dad. But yeah, other than that, we're trying to work through our emulator. Gonna make some more coffee because I'm out of coffee at the moment. Life is good. Probably better than I deserve, you know? All right, so if wish him a happy birthday from my side as well. Sure, yeah, for sure I will. Yeah, it's crazy to think he's gonna be 10 years old. You know, I thought I had all the time in the world. You know what I mean? And now I'm staring down the barrel of basically, what is it, 8 more years with him, which is kind of wild. I mean, granted, I know I'm always going to be his dad and all that, you know, but if you're doing your job right as a parent, your kid should grow up and they should build their life, and they should, you know, have autonomy and have interests and friends and partner, you know what I mean? Like, hopefully their life does get full, right? You just expect that to just go so much slower than it does, I guess. Or I guess I underestimated the amount of time I had. Or overestimated the amount of time I had. So this is V at Y. Chip V. Skip next instruction if the value... Nope, we already did that one. If the value of X is not pressed. Oh, value of X is not pressed. There we go. Hey, Suhas. I'm so jealous of you. How are you so productive? I'm not that productive. I mean, this is... It's taken me 10 minutes to write this horrible code, right? So I'm not productive, but I am consistent, if nothing else. Now you're learning C and building an emulator. So we're learning C only because we're doing boot.dev. So I wouldn't have actually probably pulled C off the shelf if it wasn't for boot.dev. I have to, you take a you do a memory management course there, and then you have to build a portfolio project. So I decided to build it in C because I don't really know C that well. So we're struggle busting through it at the moment. Hey Oblivion, good to see you. Thanks for watching for 5 consecutive streams. I appreciate that. Nuchu, hey, thanks for following on Twitch, and I appreciate you waiting the 10 minutes so that you could chat. I know that's kind of a pain in the ass to have followers only mode, but it's for me it's worth it. Keeps my chat pretty much troll free most of the time. Let's see, what are you doing? Seem like ISA or something, or driver or something? So interesting. Barely see these nowadays streams. So I am making, it's not a driver, and I'm not 100% certain what ISA is. So basically what I'm doing is there's these old programs that people wrote for chips that are long ago now obsolete, called, and the language you would use to write these programs was called CHIP-8. So it was like a set of kind of assembly instructions that people could author their code in. And so what I'm doing is I'm basically building, I'm calling it an emulator, but you could really just call it an interpreter. So what it does is it reads the binary files, so these programs that people have written, and then parses that binary into the instructions that are encoded in it, and then simulates executing those instructions, right? As if you were on that old machine, so that you can then make use of those programs that are out there. And it's been fun. It's been good. I've had to do a lot of bitwise math, which has kind of been a little tricky for me. Never been particularly strong at that. And a lot of hexadecimal a lot of thinking about things in hexadecimal versus decimal versus binary, like a lot of that. I also think it's kind of interesting to try to understand, like, how do you simulate how a chip processes instructions in code. That's kind of interesting. So it's been a good project, and I've gotten practice to write C, work with the C syntax. So it's been good. Suas, is the course free? So the course on boot. All the courses on boot.dev are free, but they're only free from a read-only mode perspective. So if you want the actual interactivity and stuff, you have to pay. But if you don't care about that, if you just want to basically read the information and do the exercises in your own development environment, then yeah, it's you just make an account and don't sign up or don't pay or anything. Don't add a credit card or whatever payment information. And you can go through the courses. You just won't get the leveling, the gamification aspect of it. That's not free. Brian Vinode, man, it's hard to learn anything with AI. That's been my experience. I have people that come into the comments of my chat and also in my YouTube video comments. And they tell me that they're using AI to learn things. So maybe it's a skill issue on my part, or maybe I'm holding it wrong, as some people say. But yeah, my experience with using AI to learn stuff is I get the information I need, and then it just evaporates from my brain, and then the next day I have to look it all up again. So I do think there's something about the friction of learning that's important in my life for making me actually grok things in a meaningful way. That's why, as I've been going through this, I've kind of been restricting myself to just using let's see, how to open, or how to check if key down in Raylib. I've been using DuckDuckGo. Granted, I will say it's not as good of a search engine as Google, but it at least allows me to get rid of the AI overviews and actually have to kind of be forced to go look at documentation and read code examples and just basically introduce a little bit of that friction. So I share your experience, Brian, but I don't want to say that my experience is everyone's experience, obviously. I'm learning interpreter and compiler. This is so interesting. Nice. Very cool. I've had multiple people in my stream tell me that I should try to write a compiler or write an interpreter. I'm not a big, I kind of like I mentioned a little bit ago, I'm not a big low level guy. Like it doesn't super pique my interest. So I've never really, like I don't want to work on compiler tool chains or build programming languages or anything like that personally, at least at this point in my life or in my career. That stuff doesn't particularly pique my interest. But this has been, I think, a good learning exercise for me, in and of itself, for sure. Like, just use AI to make it. How do you possibly learn it if you just prompt? Well, yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to just context, Suhas. I think it comes down to like what are people trying to accomplish, right? Are you just trying to build a product so you can throw up a landing page and sell people something? You know, are you just trying to rush through your roadmap so you can get in front of your shareholders and talk about everything you've done, you know? Or are you building something because you really care about it and you want it to feel crafted and you want it to feel like it was made by you and it has your aesthetics and it has your taste and you want to understand the system completely, right? You want to have ultimate control and ultimate understanding, right? Those are very different contexts, and I can see why AI gets applied in one in a certain way and maybe why it doesn't get applied in another a certain way. I think my biggest pain point is just the AI evangelicalism of AI people. This constant need to pitch, sell, fear monger, right? That type of environment or that type of behavior I don't fuck with. Do you prompt, double check, verify, ask the AI in the prompt to break down each individual line? It's about your prompt engineering and thought process behind it. Don't ask it to build anything as it for pseudocode in a breakdown. You can definitely use it. You can definitely use it that way. But man, there's just something about the friction of actually having to like go and find the documentation and then write the thing out and then run the thing and see it break and then figure out why. You know what I mean? It's that process of like, what is it? It's that process of like really like using something, right? And you're having to like figure out how the pieces go together, and you know what I mean? That's that process that really, for me personally, like puts it in my brain, right? Registers it in a more meaningful way. Obviously, that doesn't have to be everyone's learning process, just mine. So far, I've been honing into said balance of a code base, feeling personal, but also having been written more rapidly by my own criteria and style. Not easy, and it somehow costs mentally more than coding used to. I do wish we didn't go down this path. Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, I think if we're talking about a work context, like you got to do what you got to do. You got to put food on the table, right? It's like whatever boss man says, boss man gets. But yeah, in your own life, you know, do it the way you want to do it. You know, figure out the way you want to build stuff. I always mention this just because one of my favorite YouTubers and a YouTuber that's been very helpful to me in my own learning and my own understanding over the last few years has been Web Dev Cody, and he's largely pivoted to just doing agentic engineering, and I'm not super interested in that, but I like to watch his videos and listen to him talk about it. He's excited about it, and I like to hear people talk about the things they're into and they're a fan. You know what I mean? Like, I know human beings are really bad at this. Human beings are really bad at holding conflicting ideas, right? So like, you cannot be interested in doing agentic coding, right? But be supportive of people who want to do it. It's as long as they're not trying to shove it down my throat, you know? Yeah, it's like drawing. 100% is like drawing. It's like any activity that you do because it brings you fulfillment and joy and gives you a sense of ownership over something and a sense of expression, right? And I'm not saying that doing things agentically can't do that either. right? Just like people who, you know, maybe people who make music but don't play an instrument, right? That type of thing. It's the same idea. One is not necessarily the existence of one does not have to mean the non-existence of the other, I guess. I'm supportive of people who want to get better. 100%. Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I guess I'm just also somewhat supportive of understanding if somebody, like if my brother came to me tomorrow and said, "Hey, I have this idea for an app. I want to build it." And I said, "Ah, man, I don't know if I really have the time to help, but maybe you could try some of these tools, you know, and I could help guide you or whatever." Like I would be encouraging of that. But I wouldn't be expecting him to want to become a software engineer. I would be expecting he just wants to build his idea. So that's where it's the critical part of me really only comes out when it comes to AI, when either somebody's trying to push it onto me or others, or we're in the context of like people who actually want to be really good software engineers or really good coders or really good programmers. That's when I kind of take a more critical view or thoughtful view of it. And then second to that, like I guess secondary to all that, or aside for all that, is just like my own personal concerns about excessive AI usage on your mental well-being. Like I do think we're going to find out in 5 or 10 years. I think there's going to be research that shows that excessive use of AI does result in some level of cognitive, I don't know what you call it, impairment, alteration. I don't know what the word is, but it's like if you did sustained cycles of testosterone, right? There's gonna be side effects. There may be benefits. You get stronger, bigger, all those things, but you're gonna have side effects, right? So like I think that's, and then you're gonna have to make the decision, like what are the side effects worth the benefit? And that's a very individual choice, because I have friends who, you know, bodybuilders, competed in strongman, competed in powerlifting, and they chose to do things in an enhanced, geared way. But in some cases, they paid a price for it, you know? Satyajit, hello, good to see you. That's what I've done with a few friends who asked me that exactly, but without background knowledge and comp sci, however powerful the LM, they barely got anywhere. Exactly, because you still have to direct the ship, right? Yeah, that makes sense. They rotate to learn everything manually and use LMs for information fetching only. So props to them. Yeah, because like I think everybody eventually finds themselves there, right? Because you sort of need that knowledge in order to articulate what you want, which is it's almost kind of an interesting conundrum, right? It's like at some point you just run out of the words to express what it is that you need or want, and then you're in trouble. Went from plural friends to a singular them friend. Fair enough. I see Chelsea is laughing that you were talking about fitness earlier. First time she's come and sat down to listen. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember those days, man. Yeah, personal training's a great field, but dude, it's a grind. I mean, it's a grind. You largely end up working a split shift every day, right? Because you got to get up early and train when everybody wants to work out before they go to work, and then maybe you have some lunchtime clients if you're lucky, or maybe you have some retired like middle of the morning or middle of the afternoon clients. But a lot of times, man, my book was always full from 4 to 8 and 4 to 8 in the morning, and then 4 to 8 at night. Yeah. I think that's still, honestly, I think that's still where my most passion lies. Like I think eventually, whenever my kids get old enough or I eventually reach enough savings, I think I would like to do something in that world again. I know I'd love to have a gym again, but I don't know if I necessarily want to train people. I'd love to just have a gym where it's like, I want you to be a member, but you have to be you have to be chill, you have to be cool, you can't be an asshole, can't be a douchebag. Like no, like how Planet Fitness has the no, the lunk alarm. My gym would be like the no douchebag policy. But like it's a really nice, clean gym, well equipped. You know, it's kind of private, kind of closed, right? Maybe people can train clients there. I don't think I necessarily want to ever go back to coaching people because, God, it's just so it's painful, man. It's painful. A lot of the times you end up caring more about it than your client does, and yeah, it's just painful. Half my fridge is supplements. That's awesome. That's awesome. Code side of things go over her head. Oh yeah, no worries, man. Everybody's welcome here. Suas, am I allowed? Am I bad? I mean, I guess you'd be allowed. I just like to have something like I don't know if any of you guys watch Sam Solik's videos. I really like Sam Solik. I think he's just a very down to earth, level headed. I think dude, not necessarily. I don't necessarily co-sign for all his training practices or dietary practices, but I do enjoy watching his videos. And he recently got like a little private gym set up, and yeah, I just like to have something like that. You know, if I ever one day if I ever reach some level of financial success, I think that would be a lot of fun. It's like psychologist, but with physical health. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. A gym in your garage? You really should, man. I never want to go back to not having a garage gym. The garage gym changed. Not only did it make getting training in easier, but it also opened up a lot of flexibility into the way I write and build programs, because it's literally like a 5-minute walk to go lift, right? So if I want to structure my volume and intensity in a creative way, right? I can. I don't have to worry about this logistics of, well, I'm only going to have an hour and a half at the gym, and they're only open from these hours, and I have to get up early or I have to stay up late. I can just go whenever I want. It's awesome. Rock climbing. That was actually the last time I had a gym membership was at a rock climbing gym. That was in 2021, 2022 for about 4 months. I had a membership at a local rock climbing gym, and it was a ton of fun. I didn't do much bouldering. I did like the auto rappel stuff, right? Where like you hook yourself up to that. I don't even know the terminology for all of it, but it was a ton of fun, man. You get a crazy pump in your forearms and in your back. It was a great way to finish off workouts. Was to just go and climb. But I never done much bouldering before. There's a random thing that a lot of developers also like rock climbing. A lot of developers, I feel like, are into rock climbing, or they get hooked on rock climbing. And I also feel like a lot of developers get hooked on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which was, I mean, that's probably next to football. That's like my second favorite physical thing I've ever done was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I'd love to get back into it at some point. I think the reason why it probably appeals to developers is because it's you do BJJ. Okay, awesome. What have you moved beyond the white belt? I got a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but it's been about 5 years since I've done any of it. COVID crashed my BJJ career. because that's when I canceled my membership and stopped going, was because of all the COVID stuff. But I would love to get back into it. I think what appeals about both those activities to developers is the problem solving nature, right? It's like a puzzle. BJJ is like a puzzle. Climbing's like a puzzle. No, because I started less than 16-year-old and now I have to get a blue belt as an adult. Oh, reset. Yeah, it happens. Yeah, you get it. You get it. It's just an inevitability, right? You just keep showing up. I mean, that's the thing with it, is like you show up for your first class and you suck and you get crushed, right? And then you just keep showing up, and all of a sudden, before long, you know, now you're crushing people. Not crush them in a bad way, but you know what I mean. And then, you know, before long, you're the person who's trying to help the new person. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Now that you say that, I feel like I need to really make a concentrated effort to figure that out now that we're in Olathe. No-gi, I got slammed for months and months. I haven't done much no-gi. I really only did gi. I haven't done much no-gi. Like a handful of times. But I competed in tournaments and stuff. Let me see if I can find a... I took gold in one of the tournaments I did. Yeah. This was back in my BJJ career. It was a lot of fun, man. I had so much fun. And I really enjoyed our instructor. He was a really nice guy. I think he's in Alabama now. I think he opened a school down there. Yeah, ooh, fancy, yeah. That's good times, man. It's good times. Yeah, it's definitely it's like a physical version of programming in a lot of ways, you know. That's actually how I fucked up my ear. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed. One of my ears is all, I think it's my left one. One of my ears is all cauliflowered ear. That was from jiu-jitsu. I think it's my left. Yeah, I think it's this one. That's all fucked up. Yeah, it is. It's a problem-solving sport. Yeah. Yep, the good old cauliflower. Yeah. Okay, now we're doing FX. Okay, 9E. So this is 158. So if opcode, oh no, if NN equals 158, and else if NN equals A1. No, you're not distracting me at all. Yeah. No, I mean, if I wanted to be not distracted, you know, you just wouldn't stream. So I like the conversation, the chit chat. It's fun. Especially when you get to talk to people who are also interested, you know, in the same thing you are, programming, coding, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think people don't understand, like, well, I shouldn't say people don't understand. People just don't know, right? I don't know all of you guys, you know, personally and stuff. But, like, programming and coding has really been, so my biggest passion growing up was football. Then that passion shifted, largely moved to fitness, because fitness was a way, like, I got into fitness largely as a way to, like, train for football. And then that morphed into its own thing after high school. And then I found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that was like the first thing I had found that could give me the same feelings and experience I had playing football. And then I found programming and coding, and that was like the next thing that was kind of in a similar like realm of like personal satisfaction and enjoyment. So I think sometimes, especially like all our conversation about AI, people just don't understand how much actual love and passion and enjoyment you can get from an activity, right? And that's understandable if they don't share that same, if it doesn't scratch their brain in the same way, you know? So I have empathy for them, but I don't feel like sometimes people have empathy for others. There we go. Air Force pilot, that would have been very cool. But we have like 500 of them here, so I didn't make the cut, but kept up all the combat sports and fitness. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, being a pilot would be really cool. I have one of the engineers I work with at work, he has his pilot's license. He flies like kind of those smaller fixed wing airplanes, I think is what he flies. But he says he loves it. Been doing it for a long time. Obviously, I know like being a fixed wing pilot is very different than an Air Force pilot, but still, right? Just flying planes in general is a pretty cool activity. Okay, now we're gonna do F00. Convert. Copy this guy. This is F000, and this is actually E00. Oh, you got your bachelor's in aviation? Very cool. Yeah, you should go finish your licenses. So that's kind of why you want to do something tech related, huh? In the aviation world. Man, you really should you should convince your girlfriend to go on an adventure and come work in Olathe at Garmin. They do aviation stuff. They're headquartered here where I live. Just tell her you guys are gonna go on a yeah, I pivoted into a master's. I have IT, so I could combine the two, I guess. Yeah, that would be awesome. You really should. That would be perfect. Yeah, I see postings all the time on Garmin's website for aviation related engineering positions. I think some of them obviously aren't software related, but like I think some of them are, you know. Some are manufacturing, I think, embedded systems type stuff. GPS systems, yeah. Yeah, just tell her you're going to take a 5-year sabbatical or something in the States, and then you'll move back home. That may not work well with her chosen career path, but okay, that's our hex, and then we have to do a let's do an if, and we have to do an if on the last few of these. So we need to look for 07. So if NN equals 7, else if NN equals 0A, it's 10. Else if NN equals 15, 15. I'm gonna convert multiple of these at a time. This would be 21. How many of these are there? There are... So we have 21, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See, if I had real strong Vim Foo, if I was like a black belt in Vim Foo, I could have just done that with the macro, huh? So we have 10. Okay, so then we need to do... We did 21. So we did 10, 21, 18. It's 24. This would go so much faster if I actually could do this conversions in my head. 24. Or if I had just chosen to use hexadecimal instead of converting everything. I really regret that decision now, looking back. 1E. 30. 29. 41. 33. It's 51. 55. To 85. And then we have one more. I guess I missed one. 65. Oh, what? Okay, now we've got everything. Now let's implement. So the value of dt is placed into Vx. So the value of dt, so this would be chip Vx, whoops, nope. Vx equals chip dt. All execution stops until a key is pressed. Then the value of that key is stored in Vx. All execution is stopped. Okay, I guess what we want to do here is we want to say chip the value of that key is stored in Vx. So would that be Vx equals the key that was pressed? I guess we also need some way to know that we're waiting on a key too. So let's introduce a flag on here. That's bool. And we'll call that waiting for key, like this. We also need to initialize those fields that we added. So keys get set to keys set to 0. And then we also need to initialize chip waiting for key equals false. So I guess this is where we would say waiting chip waiting for key equals true. That. I actually don't know if this is the right. Is that the right thing to do? I feel like the way the instructions are written, it makes me think that store the value of the key VX. It's kind of confusing the way they wrote this specification, because sometimes I don't know if they're talking about the value X that we parse from the opcode, or if we're talking about what's currently at the X register. Oh, actually, now that I say that, everywhere where they're talking about the register, they say register of or register VX. I honestly don't know. Okay, we're not going to worry about that too much. Let's also use our waiting for key function here, or our key property. We need to use that to basically skip. We've got to use it to do something conditionally in our loop, right? We don't want to do any other executions if we're waiting for a key. I guess at the top here, we should do if we're inside our loop. Where should this exist? Because we still want to update the keys, right? I think what we want to do is we want to call update key, and then we want to basically say if the chip waiting for key is true, we want to loop over our keys, right? We want to check to say, hey, if CPU keys has something at one of these indexes, right? Then we'll set CPU V. Is it I? No. I think it's the values. Let's see. There are some pseudo registers which are not accessible from CHIP-8. Program counter, stack pointer. It's a keyboard. So I guess I need some way. We need some way to know. Okay, I think this makes more sense now. So what we need to do is we need to basically persist when we're in this instruction set, when it says wait for a key press and store the value of key in VX, right? We basically need some way to carry whatever the register is from the instruction. Where is it? Right here. So instead of setting this in X, we need some way to keep X around, right? So you're waiting for a key and you want it set at this register. So what we need to do is I think we need to have a field on here called key register. And the only point of it is to hold that, like this is the place where we want you to stick the key. If that makes sense. I think it does. So key register. Otherwise, I'm not sure how else we figure out where to put it. So I think this is where you'd say chip key register like that. And then set that equal to the key. Like that. I think. This is basically going to set the register equal to whatever the index of the key pressed. Yeah. This is going to set the register on V equal to the index of whatever the key was pressed. Then we have to reset and say CPU waiting for key equal to false. I'm almost 100% certain this is the way to do this, although I'm not super confident that this should go here. But I think it makes sense, right? Because you go through here, you go through the loops, you hit waiting for a key. The main loop should continue, but you don't want to process any more of the opcodes until you get the key. Then once you have the key, you can go back into processing instructions. I think it makes sense. I think I have a duplicated. I think I have a duplicated line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there should only be 9 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is a duplicate. Steven, I can send you a hilarious Instagram reel. Really show that we devs might be all right in the AI era. Sure, man. Send it. Or you can't. I don't think you can link it in YouTube, but you can link it in Discord. And I'm sure other people in Discord would love to watch it and laugh if it's funny. Hey, what's up, Space Ace? Good catch, bro. Oh, thanks, man. I do what I can. I do what I can. I'm gonna put some coffee on. I just realized it was 6:20. I'm gonna put some coffee on. I'll be right back. BRB. This would also be a good time for you to fill up your cup. Whatever your beverage of choice is.
Did we just become best friends?
Priceless Talk. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. I'm sorry I wasn't here for the alert. I was making coffee. You sent in the memes channel? Okay. In the memes, bro. Oh man, the Discord be popping this morning. It says bait or low IQ, call it. Why APIs are dead in the age of AI? Why does this guy's account say Toby on Fitness? But he's talking about APIs. Oh goodness. We don't want to scroll too much on Reels. We don't know what's going to be next.
Right now we have MCPs. Those are also probably going to die. Like none of this stuff is going to be necessary in the future. All we're going to need to be able to do is use tools to get to endpoints to grab data. As long as we have access to the endpoints, we will have access to the data. That's always been my principle. Like APIs are great, right? In terms of like giving you an understanding of how to call data. But functionally, at the end of the day, it's always about calling data and getting data. APIs in the modern era.
What did he say? I don't know what he's...
APIs are dead. Like APIs, right now we have MCPs. Those are also probably going to die. Like none of this stuff is going to be necessary in the future. All we're going to need to be able to do is use tools to get to endpoints to grab data. As long as we have access to the endpoints, we will have access to the data. That's always been my principle. Like APIs are great, right? In terms of like giving you an understanding of how to call data. But
I mean, I'm hearing that correctly. You guys hear that all the same? He basically just said, he's a BJJ practitioner. I hate to dunk on him too much. He's in Harrisburg. He is a fitness and weight management enthusiast. What does that mean to be a fitness and weight management enthusiast? A mobile applications developer working in Harrisburg. Huh. Well, I hate to dunk on him too much, but I think what he just said was basically said something was going to be obsolete, but then in the next sentence said you're going to need it to do tool calling. I'm pretty sure is what he just said. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is bait. I have no idea. So it looks like he's wanted to be, or maybe is trying to build sort of an online following around fitness, which is, hey man, I'm all, we need more people. I mean, obviously I have no idea what he recommends or what he's preaching to people about fitness, but go for it. And then I guess now he's doing stuff with AI. Maybe he's pivoted, or he's mixing the two. Huh. I don't know, man. That's definitely, I don't know if it's bait or not, but it's definitely, he is not dumb, but what he said in that clip is dumb. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe if I'm trying to interpret it in the most general way possible, is he's thinking that when he says API, he's referring to like integrations between systems, right? Maybe when he's talking about APIs, he's talking about building these integrations that connect systems through their programmatic interfaces. And what he's really saying is, as long as the systems expose the endpoints, as long as they expose their public programming interface, then you don't need those integrations anymore because your agents can call tools and get the data from those endpoints. Maybe that's the way he's trying to communicate it. Because I do hear people at work a lot. They get confused. They'll say something like, hey, we want to build a custom API. And what they're really saying is they want to build a custom integration, right? An API is an application programming interface. It's the thing that exposes a programmatic interface that you can use code to execute against compared to a GUI, right? Or a TUI, right? A graphical or a terminal or a CLI interface. So maybe that's what he means. We'll try to take him at the most generous interpretation. But yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, don't need API. Yeah, I think he's mixing words. I think he's doing what I hear people use that vernacular a lot at work. Also, I realized that whole time I was talking, I was showing you my coffee. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure what he's saying is he's imagining a world where there's no need to build custom integrations between disparate systems, which is a common thing you do today. It's very common. It's very common, especially in enterprises with a lot of disparate systems. But that you won't need that in the future because you'll have all these agents running around and they'll just be able to grab context from wherever they need to grab it, and then inject that wherever they need to inject it to accomplish whatever said task. I don't believe that because there's a big difference between a deterministic integration that facilitates the exchange and transformation of data, especially large amounts of data, versus needing to do one-off exploratory calls with a probabilistic reasoning system. I don't agree with the prediction. And the way he worded it was very confusing. All right, I'm going to go get my coffee. All right, I'm bad. And being inexperienced makes it so he can't communicate about the topic clearly. I guess, yeah, I don't know. And that's the thing, I don't know his whole story, right? It's like I can't really tell if he works as a developer or if he works in fitness. I can't really tell what his main area of knowledge is or focus is. You know? But yeah, the communication is, I mean, you just have to be careful when you're depending on the audience you're talking to, you know, you got to be mindful of the vocabulary you use. You know, if you're a developer speaking to other developers, especially if you're making predictions, right, or making claims or things like that, you probably want to use as close to the correct vernacular for things rather than maybe like layman's terms for stuff. At first though, I thought I was having a stroke because yeah, I was like, am I hearing that correctly? He says you don't need APIs, but you still need endpoints available to grab data. And then I was like, so I thought I was stroking out there for a minute. But I mean, he does fitness. He said he does fitness and he does BJJ, and he likes to write code, obviously, or do stuff with code. So it's hard for me to dunk on him because he seems like my kind of guy. But maybe it's just the inexperience showing, or just maybe he had a brain fart at that moment. I'm sure I've said super incredibly dumb shit on stream. Okay, key is pressed and the value of the key is stored in VX. Okay, DT is set equal to the value of VX. Set delay timer equals VX. So this would be delay timer equals chip. Delay timer. Oh wow, it's gonna be kind of hot today. I was just looking at the weather. It's gonna be like, well, I guess good thing we're going to the pool in the morning. Let's see, delay timer, that's our DT, equals CPU, sorry, chip. We'll get to experience you got to do and fail. It's just a bit of unfortunate if you do it publicly. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm a fan of people doing things publicly, learning and failing publicly, you know? I think I'm a fan of it. I think you just have to be careful with how like with how authoritative you are about it. Does that make sense? Like I've always tried, I'm not the most experienced engineer, right? So I always try, when I try to talk about things, I always try to couch them just in the caveat that like, this is what I know based on my own experience, but I'm never trying to like teach, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to position myself as a teacher, right? I'm trying to position myself as just a guy on the internet who likes these things and wants to talk about them and has thoughts and opinions, and you should take those with a grain of salt, obviously. But yeah, you just have to be mindful of like how you're presenting yourself, I think. Okay, then here we're gonna say set I equals I plus VX. So we say chip I equals chip I plus chip oh, I guess I can do this actually. Equals chip at VX. Okay, we're getting close to the home stretch. I think these are the last 4 instructions, because we've already done in. So I think we're on the home stretch here. Let's see, 41. That's going to set I equals the location of sprite for digit VX. What does that mean? Location of sprite. The value of I is set to the location for the hexadecimal sprite corresponding to the value of VX. See section 2.4 display for more information on the CHIP-8 hexadecimal font. What? There's a font involved in this? Say what? FX29. Okay, let's see what the display thing is about. Let's see. Programs may also refer to a group of sprites representing the hexadecimal digits 0 through F. These sprites are 5 bytes long or 8 by 5 pixels. The data should be stored in the interpreter area of CHIP-8 memory. Below is the listing of each character's bytes. So where's the interpreter is at the very beginning, right? Yeah, so right here. So we basically need to convert these into a array of bytes in our program, and then we need to put these into memory in our program whenever we initialize the chip. So this is going to be very painful to type by hand. This seems like a perfect job for AI. I don't think there's much learning that can come from manually typing this, but basically we need to define an array of uint8t that's going to hold our fonts, or I guess we could call it our font set. Which is interesting. It looks like it's looks like it's just the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so font set, and that's going to be equal to an array of how many? 8 by 5 is what they said. 8 by 5. 8 by 5. It's 40. I don't think that's right. Five bytes long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm not sure how big the array needs to be. I know I'm gonna need entries like this, right? I'm gonna need an entry that's basically like, for example, if I want to do 0, right? I have to type 0xf0, 0x90, 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 0xf0. I'm just copying straight from that table in the spec. So this right here would be 0, right? So if I need to do that 16 times, what is that? 5, right? 16 times 5. That is, 80. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So 80. This needs to be 80 because I need 80 bytes. 80 bytes. Oh, thanks, Kale. You already worked that out. Ooh, Steven using the AI. So which one are you going to use? I almost always use Gemini for like one-off stuff. Yeah, pretty much always Gemini. Mainly just because that's the one I pay for. And I know people always dunking on the Gemini family of models, but I really like the Gemini family of models. I like that they're multimodal. You know, you can do all the different video, image generation, all that stuff. I like their UI. I think their UI is fine. They have a mobile app. They have a way to integrate with GitHub, so you can give it your GitHub repositories if you want it to look at code. So I personally kind of feel like most of the models are all interchangeable for the way that I use them and for the amount of things I use them for. But maybe I'm not agentic engineering hard enough to notice a difference. Okay, I'm just going to copy this table, and then I'm going to ask it to generate me an array of bytes that I can copy paste here. Anti-gravity is included, and that is my main. That's the main. If I do use an agent harness, that's the main one I use, and it's gotten really good. It was utter dog shit for so it started with a Gemini CLI, and that was okay, but it was slower than hell. Like, it would take 30 seconds for that motherfucker to start up. And then they killed Gemini CLI and moved it to the anti-gravity CLI. And the first release of the anti-gravity CLI was still pretty poor. But now it's fast as fuck, man. It fucking flies now. That thing is I was comparing it to OpenCode the other day, and I mean OpenCode's great, but but using the anti-gravity CLI, it's much faster. And I'm guessing part of that's the model I'm using, right? Like 3.5 flash is very fast, but it's I mean, they built a good little piece of software, in my opinion. I know everyone has very strong opinions about those things, but yeah, it is fast as fuck. It is fast, man. It's fast. It's very good. It's interesting. It actually one of the behaviors I noticed with it, I don't know if it's the prompting they do in the harness or what, but I notice it likes to write code. It seems like a lot more to do things like, it seems like some of the other agent harnesses have they like to do tool calling for things. And thank you very much, Gemini. You saved me about 10 minutes of typing there. They like to do, yeah, it seems like they like to do tool calling. I notice AGI will actually, not AGI, AGY will actually write like Python scripts and stuff to accomplish different tasks, which I find kind of interesting. Okay. So now we have our fonts here. We should be able now to get the thing, implement that instruction. So what was the instruction exactly? The instruction was we need to do some shit. Control O. Yeah, Control O. Control O again. JS, Python. Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, Ballerina and LM Studio Tools does that too in LM Studio. Interesting. Super interesting. Yeah. I mean, whatever it takes to accomplish the task, I guess. Super, super interesting. Where were we? God, this is some of the ugly. I feel like this is some of the ugliest code that I've ever written. Let's see. Now we need to go to set immediate here. Okay, set immediate to I. Okay, now I'm down here. So set I equals location of sprite for digit VX. For digit VX. The value of I is set to the location for the hexadecimal sprite corresponding to the value of VX. So, we also need to load the font, don't we? Make an emulator for my one instruction architecture. Next /J. What does that mean? Does that mean I'm not doing NeoVim correctly? Because if that's the case, I apologize. Yo necesito improvo. /J means joking. Oh, so your one instruction set is just to make jokes? I mean, it's not a bad instruction set. Necesito improve my Vimfu. So I don't understand. Where should I be? I think I have to offset it by 5, right? Because it's whatever index you give me, each one is 5 long, right? So also I need to load the fonts. That's what I was forgetting to do. So I need to load the fonts. Where do the fonts go? The fonts go. The data should be stored in the interpreter area of CHIP-8 memory. Below is a listing of each character's bytes. Okay, so from 1FF, so from the beginning to 1FF. So what is that? That is hex converter. 511. 511. I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to start loading it at a very specific so let's do, we're going to load the fonts here. So we'll say for int I equals 0 and I is less than 80. I plus plus. And let's go ahead and just define another constant up above here. So we will say hashtag define font start. And let's set that to, let's see, font start is going to be, I'm going to do a 50. Or I guess I'll offset it. I'll offset it by 80. How about that? So program start equals 80. Hey, iSpooky. Oh no, we are using C. We are indeed using C. So what we're going to do is we're going to do chip memory. Hey Steven, how are you? I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm slowly making my way through this emulator. I'm hoping maybe this weekend we can finish it up and move on to doing boot.dev's Learning Go course. But yeah, life is good. We're just chilling, drinking coffee. I think some other people are hanging out in chat, working on their stuff. It's good, man. It's good. Oh, this should be chip font start, and then that's going to be equal to font set at 5 times I. Right, because basically every one is 5 in length, so we have to offset it. Oh no, why you say oh no? The C in C stands for chill OG trad coding language. I guess that's what you could call it. I guess that's what you could call it. Oh no, that I don't need to do that there. I need to do that down below. So this is just loading. So this is just loading the fonts into memory. And then down below I need to actually do the offset. So this instruction right here. So this instruction says, I've read it 6 times to you. I know. I'm sorry. The information goes in and then it goes out. The value of I is set to the location for the hexadecimal sprite corresponding to the value of X. So this would be chip I equals chip at memory. I feel better now. I feel so reassured. Because now we're in an OG chill coding language. So we will need to do program start plus CPU chip. Keep doing that. For some reason, my brain wants to think of it as a CPU and not a chip. Vx times 5, right? Because it wants the position. It wants the location. Set the location. So, right? So the location is always going to be offset by not program start, font start. So font start plus X times 5, right? Because each font is 5 bytes. So if we want the first sprite, we want the first 5 bytes. If we want the second sprite, we want the, or I guess we want the 0th in this case, 0th for the first sprite. For the second sprite, we want the first element, right? So on and so forth. If that makes sense. I'm scared of C because during uni I have a project where I wrote 15,000 lines using global variables, then was told we cannot use global variables the day before it. Wow. You had to make a stock exchange in C? Holy moly. That's crazy, bro. That's quite a uni project. Store BCD representation of Vx in memory locations I plus 1, and I plus 2. What is a BCD representation? BCD representation. CHIP-8. Store representation of Vx in memory locations. The interpreter takes the decimal. Oh, I guess I could have read this. The interpreter takes the decimal value of Vx and places the hundreds digit in memory at location I, the tens digit at I plus 1, and the ones digit at location I plus 2. Okay, interesting. The tens digit. So I need to get each of the separate digits. So I basically just need to do some division and some modulo math. So we need to do chip at I equals CPU Vx. Gosh dang, bro. It's not a freaking CPU. It's a freaking chip. Plus divide by 100. So that's how we're going to get the decimal place, right? And then we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do I plus 1. Hey Dota, I've been watching the latest Kent Beck interview. Super awesome. What's didn't realize he was so involved in the creating design pattern, XP, and Agile. Oh, you didn't know that? Kent Beck? Yeah, he was. Yeah, what interview? What's it on? You should link it. Thank you. I will definitely save that for the watch later list. Oh, the practical. Yeah, I like this. I like that podcast. That is a good podcast. Good podcast. Kind of skips over the dark times in 03 to 11. What were the dark times? Did he go through something rough?
Did we just become best friends?
Hey, thanks for the follow, man. That's very kind of you. His Parkinson's is noticeable. Oh, yes, Parkinson's. Oh, that's too bad. Dude, I feel so bad for people that get diagnosed with those. He became a goat farmer? Oh, is that where that joke came from? That's hilarious. Oh, this is memory. Memory. Yeah, he was an actual goat farmer for a while. Just got so fed up with I'm sad that he skipped over that part, because that probably would have been super interesting to kind of hear like what was going on, right? Like what was going on at that time in your life that you felt like it was necessary to just bail altogether, you know? Oh, the .com boom. Oh, really? That's awful. I had no idea. I wish he would talk about that, because I feel like that would make him so much more relatable, you know, to so many people. But I can also imagine not wanting to like revisit like a super dark time in your life. The AI boom going to ruin mine. Where can I buy a goat farm? Well, I mean, the nice thing about, or at least in my situation, at least I'm not a business owner, so lucky for me, I'm just an employee, you know. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of rooting. I mean, I know this sounds horrible to say, but I am sort of rooting for a crash. Like between, if I'm going to retire in the next, my goal is to retire in 19 years, and so I would love there to be, you know, a 50% pullback or a 20% pullback once or twice more before I retire. Because that means then I can buy stuff cheap. Buy investments cheap. But I also understand that that means that a lot of people are going to have to experience a lot of pain, which is not something I should be rooting for. It really makes me want to get good. Yeah, or the interview made you want to get good? Does he kind of talk about that, about getting good, or how to like improve your skill set and stuff? I do invest, Kale, but I'm a very boring investor. If you want to know what I do with my money, the book that I recommend is called The Simple Path to Wealth. That's basically what I do with my money. J.L. Collins. I'm in the wealth accumulation phase, so every dollar that I can possibly put into an index fund, either VTI, which is the ETF for VTSAX, or an S&P 500. and I just shovel as much money as I can into those investments and just let them sit and don't look at them. That's my investment strategy. I also really like I really like the Money Guy show. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, the Money Guy show. I really like, they have a YouTube channel and a podcast, but I really like these guys. They're based in Tennessee. I actually think they're based in the same place Dave Ramsey is. I think they're in the same town, actually. But I think they're originally from Georgia, but very smart guys. They give really good advice. They've got this wonderful system called the Financial Order Operations, which I think is a wonderful way to kind of think about how to utilize your next dollar. It's very good. What would you be buying during a downturn? But more equities. Yeah, I would just keep buying more index funds, you know, because the thing is, when the stock market crashes, it's not a representation of the value of the underlying companies, you know? The market is irrational. So, you know, when the stock market crashed in 2008, you know, Apple was still Apple. But you basically could buy it for basically what it was worth according to all of its assets, which is just unbelievable, which is just incredible, right? So that's where it's like, it's just a buying opportunity. Your dollar goes further, you know? Because if you're buying index funds, you have to not think of it like you're not gambling. You're buying ownership in companies. That's what you're buying, right? So you're buying a tiny piece of ownership in companies, and those companies are made up of tons of people just like me who are going to work every day to try to do a good job so that they can earn more money for their families, right? And improve their livelihood, which is what kind of fuels the ever growing up into the right trajectory of the market. It's sort of a bet. It's almost a bet on greed in a way, right? It's a bet on humanity's ever growing desire to always have more, right? The key is to invest in it, but not participate in it. That's the key. The key is to keep your lifestyle as low cost as possible. Don't let lifestyle inflation fuck you, and invest your money and benefit from everyone else's consumption. Generally, holding cash is bad / too risky in and of itself. I think holding cash is important, particularly in terms of being able to take care of emergencies, right? Especially like for me, where I'm basically the sole earner for our house. I mean, my wife works, but if you look at the percentages of our income, my income is much more, and we only live off my income. We don't live off her income. So in that type of a scenario, right, if I was to lose my job or something, we need some pile of cash to be able to get through. So I think having cash, like 3 to 6 months of cash on hand to cover your expenses is definitely important. And that probably gets larger the closer you get to retirement, right? So like right now, 3 to 6 months is probably okay. But by the time I get to retirement, I probably want like a couple of years worth. One for emergencies, but also to kind of minimize the sequence of return risk, right? Like if you're getting ready to retire and the stock market did crash, right? You're going to want some cash so you don't have to immediately start drawing on those investments right away. Yeah, they don't last forever. They do not. And I think that's why emergency funds are so important, because there's gonna be times in life when you're gonna have to float yourself by, you know, and obviously life happens, right? Car repairs, kids need stuff, medical bills, someone breaks their arm, things like that. Yes, we're talking money. Oh, you use a line of credit? I don't know, man. Line of credit is sketch to me, you know? Because like you're taking on debt, and then things can go sideways, or the bank could freeze your credit. What happened? I was absent for like 2 hours, and now we're doing stocks. Damn, that escalated fast. Yeah, someone mentioned what Kale said. Someone mentioned stock markets, and then Kale asked if I invested, and so I was just talking about kind of what I do with my money. I'm very simple.
Kelsey says you all got him started now.
Yeah, I know. I could go on and on and on about this topic. I mean, there's basically nothing else in my life that I probably care. I mean, my family, obviously. I shouldn't have to say that. That should just be a given. But there's probably nothing else in my life that I care more about than financial independence. Like, it's kind of hyperbolic to say, but I look at myself as sort of an economic slave in a lot of ways. Like my decisions in my future aren't largely my own, because I have this lifestyle, I have this family, I have this life that I have to pay for, and so I have to go get money from somewhere, right? And so my main goal is to get to a point where I have enough money invested and earning money for me, so I don't have to be beholden to work, where work becomes an optional thing. I know not everybody shares that, but that's a very important thing to me. Yeah, I wouldn't either, Kale. I'm a big believer in the borrower is slave to the lender, and money makes a wonderful servant and a terrible master. My wife and I paid off all of our debt last year, and the only debt we had left was my student loans, and we wiped that all out. And I can't tell you how good it feels to live a life knowing I don't owe anything to anyone when it comes to money. It's I love it. I never want to go back to owing people money and paying interest on that money. Yeah, that's debt free is nice, dude. I haven't been debt free since I was 18 years old. You know, I spent half my life now, almost half my life in debt. I spent half my life out of debt and about half my life in debt, and I never want to go back. I will scratch and claw my eyes out before I take another loan to pay for something. You got to know his triggers for rants. I had about a 2 to 3 year period of no debt. Yeah, you said, Dota, I think you told me you bought a house, didn't you? So that's kind of a societal structural thing, right? Where like you're gonna have to save. You're gonna have to save for quite a long time, and you're gonna have to save quite a bit of money every year to pay cash for a house. I mean, it's definitely doable, but yeah, that's a pretty, you know, I'm kind of at this place where like I think me and my wife are both at the place where I think we kind of think it would be nice to have our own house, but at the same time, I don't think either of us are super excited about like all the things that come along with home ownership. And I'm particularly not excited about it from a financial perspective, just all the overhead and the maintenance and taking on the debt and everything. Yeah, but I think that's more. I think we talked about this other day, Dota. I think that's much more of like a lifestyle kind of decision than anything. I mean, obviously you have to be able to afford it, but I bought a PC before prices skyrocketed. I'd rather pay off the 2K than pay. Oh, well, yeah, yes. I should say that I have empathy and I understand, you know, like people have to get to and from their job, and so sometimes they have to take a car loan. I guess I'm just at this place where I finally hit like some escape velocity with finances, and I don't want to backslide. You know what I mean? I just want to keep going up and to the right, and I want that to translate to the next generation in our family. You know, avoiding bad consumer debts. It really is. It's whenever you get into the situation where compound interest is working against you versus for you, that's when things get scary. I'll never remember. This would have been maybe when my oldest son was maybe 2 or 3 or something years old or something, and we had balances on a credit card, and I looked at a statement one month, and I noticed that the interest was more than what the minimum payment was. And obviously I knew the math, but like seeing that on the statement, I was like, holy fuck, no, we are not doing this. You know, that's the moment when you think you should really be fearful, because compound interest is really the biggest, most powerful weapon you have to build your wealth. But it's also, when turned against you, right, it becomes like the atomic bomb, right, for your financial well-being. It'll just absolutely destroy you. Yeah, it will. The nature of compound interest, you'll never beat it, right? So yeah, I'm trying to make sure I do a good job and do right by my family, you know, and I'm trying to make sure that they, you know, their future is better than mine has been. Yeah, exactly. I prefer compound interest to grow my money, not my debt. Exactly. I'm with you there, man. I want to wield compound interest. I do not want it wielded against me. Okay, the interpreter copies the values of registers V0 through VX into memory, starting at the address in I. So I guess we just have to loop. Yeah? So we say for int I equals 0. And as long as I is less than or equal to, because we want to read less than or equal to X. Is the C project you working on boot? It's not on boot.dev. It's I'm at the point where you have to build your first portfolio project, and so I just Googled noob projects for C, and this is one of the projects that kept coming up, and that's why I picked it. It was no originality at all. You know, I was just looking for something that was like a common thing people do when they're first learning C. And this is where I landed. Location I plus little I. Break. Oh, this should be chip. Memory. No, chip V. I. So we're reading, the interpreter reads values from memory, starting at location I into registers V through X. Oh, through V, from V0 through VX. That's why we're doing it less than, yeah. That is correct. And so the next one I feel like these are the same instructions. Yeah, I don't... Does this reads like the same thing to me. Store registers V0 through VX in memory, starting at location I. The interpreter copies the values of registers V0 through VX into memory, starting at address I. Oh, I implemented those upside down. So this one is supposed to be... I think this one's supposed to be here. And this one's supposed to be up here. And the difference is my web dev brain gets scared when I hear registers. I'm calling them... The thing is, I'm calling them registers, but it's really just indexes in an array, right? It's just elements in an array. Positions in an array is all it is. So this is going to be the opposite. I still don't know the difference between heap and stack. Just different places where memory is stored, right? So this is just the inverse. It's literally the inverse. So we have chip, memory. We're reading registers into memory, and then we're reading memory into registers. And I think that's all of the instructions. Right? So I guess now we should see if it compiles. What's the best way to fill these in, huh? I don't know. Well, did I implement that one? O of NN? Oh, I guess I didn't implement that one. Where is that at? 0. Where is that? I think that was one I must have overlooked it. OE else. The heap can be managed by a programmer is one way to think about it, or a garbage collector, but stack is automatically done at compile time. Stack only exists when the program is running, but heap exists until freed or cleared. That makes sense to me. Most of the time, though, I mean, the thing is, like, this is all new to me, having to think of memory. I mean, occasionally I think of memory... occasionally I think of memory when I'm working in C#. You know? But not a crazy amount. I typically think of memory, when I think of memory in C#, I'm typically thinking of is this a reference type? Is this a value type of thing? But I'm not typically thinking of like how many bytes have I allocated, right? That's not something that typically I'm consciously processing, I guess. I think about memory in Python. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's not something that, of all the languages I've ever written, I guess I've just never, or maybe I haven't written programs in the right domains, right? Or in the right context where that would really matter, or where it would matter where I'd need to be very, 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 very mindful or very, very careful. I'm trying to figure out where this other instruction is. O-N-N-N, jump to machine code routine. Oh, I do see an issue with this. This should be decrement, and this actually should be CHIP-P goes to chip. Let's see. Or SP? Yeah. Steven, where are the unit tests? They are non-existent. They are non-existent because I do not yet know how to write unit tests and see. That would be a good, maybe that's a thing we do after we finish this to actually get it working. We write we could actually write some unit tests. Do not raise this in a PR, thank you. I would never do such a thing. Also, that's not right. So we set the chip program counter equal to the stack at that stack pointer. Okay, this is not where this goes. So where does that go then? It's opcode ONNN. But I feel like that should go with the other ones. But why is it all the way? This instruction is only used on the old computers on which CHIP-8 was originally implemented. It is ignored by modern interpreters. Oh. So we don't have to worry about it. So this is actually in A. I don't want to do that. Just do. The damn emoji's two character width. I'll just do that. Okay, so that means we do have all of our instructions. I'm curious if it will compile. What do you want to bet? JK, I merged without reading it. Don't tell my manager. I don't even read the code, man. Okay, we got some errors here. Let's try to take these one at a time. Well, we screwed up at the very top when declaring our font set. This should be an equals. Would really help if I would set up the LSP, but I figured it was probably good for me to suffer. Font set undeclared. Okay, that probably goes away now because I have it properly declared. Font set, let's see, font set. Keep doing the frickin' CPU thing, CPU. This should be chip. Okay, let's see. CHIP-8 has no member key register. What do you mean it doesn't? Yes, it does. Key register. So what did I call it? CHIP-8. Oh, did I not ever add it? This would be U8T key register. My bad. You should try VLang, bro. What's VLang? There's too many programming languages, man. Too many. Can't keep up with them all. Can't keep up with them all. Okay, CHIP-8 has no member named SP. No, I don't mean ST. I mean SC is what I mean. Chip. I mean SC. That NN is undeclared. Expected expression. What the hell do I got going on there? I think I have an extra bracket there. Yeah, I have an extra bracket. Okay, so fix NN. That should just be. This should just be NN. God, I really screwed that up. This should all be NN. I know there's a way I can do search and replace next, but I can't remember how to do it right now. So we're just going to do it the good old-fashioned way. A little bit of elbow grease. Okay. And then the last thing was I have a duplicate chip VX. Where was that? Line 365. Should be this, right? No, should be this one's the one that's the mistake. I keep thinking the red brackets mean there's something wrong. Hey, thanks for the sub, Crazy Raju. Appreciate that. It's very nice of you. We don't get many subs these days. Let's see, cycles per frame undeclared. Where's that at? 257, 257. Did I delete that? I thought I had that. Cycles. Oh. In undeclared. Did you mean in? No, I meant in. What line? Line number 365. If in equals 158. I have an in, don't I? Oh, maybe I do mean in. Maybe I do mean in. I don't think I have in. I have in. So that's the lowest 4 bits. But I don't have in. Let's see, why does in matter? That matters for F because we're having to look at okay, let's go ahead and add that then, because we're having to look at that value. And we have to look at that value for the F opcode, and I think we have to look at that value for the E opcode too. So let's add that. It's be pretty straightforward. We're just gonna mask by, let's see, hex to decimal. Debugging this is gonna be such a nightmare if it doesn't work. Trying to figure out why it doesn't work is gonna be awful. Just absolutely awful. So we're gonna mask by 255. So we will say uint 8 t in equals opcode 255. So this would be extracting lowest 8 bits. This probably doesn't need to be 16, does it? I don't want to change it unless I... Okay, it runs, but that's because we're not hitting any of the new instructions we entered. Let's see. Suggest parentheses around assignment used as values. Oh, no, there should not be assignment there. Assignment should not be happening there. That would have been a tricky one to catch. That's the compiler was doing. The compiler was doing me a solid there. Okay. Sounds like you want unit tests. I do want unit tests, bro. I do want. Okay, so we've got our thing still working. So now the only way we'll know if this works is we got to give it something that has the instructions, right? So I don't know what to. Let's see. CHIP-8 ROM test file. Is there something you can give it? That will validate it. Awesome CHIP-8. Of course, there's an awesome CHIP-8 repo. Testing. Corax's CHIP-8 test program, which tests most instructions for correct superchip compliant behavior. ROM testing. So I guess this one is what we want, right? I want to download this. So give me that. And then I'll move it into my directory here. Okay. So we got that in there. Now we'll do run. Okay. So that looks like it's okay. I guess let's try to run a game, yeah? I guess we'll see what that. Let's see, CHIP-8 Space Invaders. I'm interested to see if the key inputs work. What's it? Space Invader. Okay, so it says it's running, but I don't see a window. Yeah, it doesn't. It didn't launch. Huh. Right? Did anyone see a window? I like looking around my 3 monitors, like trying to see if there's a flash. I don't see a window. It's not working. So something is not. Let's look at our loop here. It's not running. Is it running at all? I mean, I think it's loading. That's weird. When does the drawing happen in my program? Happens here. We begin drawing, we clear clear. Hey, Network Bib. Nice to see you. How are you doing this fine morning? Not doing boot.dev. We are. This is so I'm building my own project as part of boot.dev. And right now we're trying to figure out why. So my program works for one of our test programs. Terminal. But it doesn't work for another. So I'm trying to get it to run. I can get it to run this logo. Right? And now I'm trying to get it to work for Space Invaders. Uh-oh. That wasn't good. It wasn't responding anymore to my kill commands. Uh-oh. Do we have like an orphaned process now somewhere? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I think I've borked something. My computer's acting very laggy. Let's clean up some windows. Unbeknownst to me, I just installed a virus. Space Invaders, Doom next? No, I probably won't write a game, but I will happily run someone else's. Huh. Okay, let me just shut the terminal down altogether. Okay, I don't see anything strange in Task Manager. Okay, I don't know why it's behaving oddly. Okay, Raylib and CHIP-8. Is there something? Raylib CHIP-8. Well, there doesn't seem to be a law on this. Or DuckDuckGo isn't surfacing it to me. I guess let's just walk the code. And let's look at our loop here. Where are we at? Okay, so we're in main here. We load our stuff. We update our keys. If Chip is waiting for a key, that makes sense. So I guess I would think that the key would still be being... Am I... We break out of the loop. Okay, what if we do... So what I'm thinking is happening, and what I'm thinking is happening is that when I enter this loop, right, key is... Well, that doesn't make sense. I guess what I was thinking is happening is we're not waiting for a key, right, initially. I don't understand why we wouldn't... I don't understand why we wouldn't reach... Why would we not reach the... Oh, because we're doing 10 instructions. So it's potential there's the potential that we just never I think there's the potential that we never reach the drawing is what I think there's the potential of. So let's just move the drawing up. So we do end. So basically some way to know. Hey, Teo Dans, how you been? It's a long time no see. I'm currently trying to struggle through why my shit isn't working. And I'm not sure I totally have it figured out. I think if we're I think the key is if we're waiting for a key, right? We have to know. Okay, let me do this. Let's go ahead and draw it. We have to say, what is the raylib in drawing? In drawing. And then we skip the cycles. Yes, no, yep. Not bad. Been doing more automation testing, but still enjoying it. Awesome. Awesome, man. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with automation testing. I like writing tests. I know a lot of people don't I guess feel that way, you know? But I do. Okay, so somehow I think what we want to do is we want to say if key pressed, then we do this. Or if key not pressed, then we do this. That way we still draw it. So if we do key not key pressed, and then let's do the key pressed up here. This will be bool key pressed. It always starts false. And if we, if we get here, key pressed equals true. This should ensure that when it starts, it draws a screen, I think, regardless of okay. Run. So run the IBM logo. That still works. That's like, this is like become my regression test. and then run this. Okay, it's not launching a window. It's not launching a window. Why wouldn't it launch a window? I feel like it has something to do with the instruction processing. I just wish there was I wish there was a file that I could give it that would validate all. I wish somebody else had written tests. That's what I wish. Give in to the AI. I mean at some point I probably will have to, because I just don't know. Well, I guess two things. One is I don't want to spend probably more than like a week and a half or 2 weeks on the project. So at some point I probably will have to. But before I do that, like I'll just tear it all apart. You know what I mean? Like I'll just. Okay, let me review let's do the first thing and let's review, because there's still a lot of improvement I have just from this organization of the code. Like I could refactor this, make it more readable. I could probably isolate some of this state. Like I could do some things to make this easier to reason about than how it's currently authored. That would make figuring it out I think, easier. But let's just start with like the basics. Let's just look at the spec against the implementation. Where did the spec go? Oh, I think I killed it, didn't I? And we could write unit tests. Yep. So I'll wrestle with it up until the time where I'm like, okay, I've spent 2 weeks on this. I need to move on. You know what I mean? I need to make some progress on something else. Come on. There we go. Okay. Okay. The interpreter sets the program to counter in. Yes. We are returning. Call adder. Call subroutines at in. Then puts the current PC at the top of the stack. The PC is then set to in. Okay, this is a bug. This is a bug. Right? Because we actually need to capture PC in the stack before we increment it. Otherwise, so that's a bug. We also, this shouldn't be hard-coded because we're manipulating the stat counter around. So we're actually going to move according to the stat counter is what we should be moving to. So that's a bug. Definite bug there. Okay, this looks right. This looks good. Oh, you can't see it? You want me to make it bigger? Is that better? Is that better? I can make it a little bigger if you need me to. Oh, unless you're watching on the mobile. If you're watching on the mobile one, you can just go to the horizontal feed. If you're watching the vertical feed, you won't be able to see the code. Yeah, if you're on the vertical one, you won't be able to see it. I stopped streaming vertically because that was making me hate programming because I was trapped to this small little window of context. It was so I was like, okay, I'm done doing that. Okay, so far I think this looks reasonable. Oh, these should not be breaking here, right? Because that breaks the... That is going to break the loop. Oh, yeah, that's going to break the loop. So let's just break down here. And this is an if-else statement, so only one of these will execute. They are mutually exclusive. Okay, so that's bug number 2 we squashed. Okay. So we're out of instructions to look at. Okay, I don't see any other opcodes that make me question, I guess. So let's just, well, I mean, we should at least just, let's see if that made any difference. So that still works. Damn you. I guess let's just say print line drawing. See if that ever gets hit. No. Does the loop ever run? Does that ever happen? It's not like crashing either. It's just exiting. Okay, there we go. We got drawing. Great. Okay. So where would this be? These should all turn. Okay, load ROM is returning, or is that what we're saying? We're executing. Interesting. Okay, so one of our validation logics was being triggered. So what is being triggered in here? The file is there. I guess let's print that. We can just print the result and we'll know. So let's just print line load ROM results. Who says you can't print your way to success, huh? Lame. So we're at 2. Which means program too large. So this would be 0, 1, 2. File missing. ls test files. Interesting. I wonder if there's something about that path. Let's just move it to, let's test files, space invaders. Let's move it to test files, space invaders.ch8. Okay, let's run it again. Hey, Inspire. Nice to see you. We're doing well. We're just struggling through a little debugging right now. Hey Steven, how are you doing? What good morning, Bradley. What do we have in the way of debug tools for C? We don't have anything set up right now. I don't have any debugger set up. I don't even have the LSP set up in my editor. I've just been kind of raw. I've been doing print debugging, using the compiler-driven development, and Google DuckDuckGo. That's basically what I've kind of been using. I should eventually, though, set up at least the LSP and the debugger. Holy shit. So, oh my god, it's working. It's working. How do I move my guy? It's working. Dude, yes. It was literally so my implementation was correct. It was literally my file path was wrong. Yes. Or I guess my implementation wasn't wrong. There was a bug in the implementation. Let's go. What level did we? I have no idea, dude. Let's go. See, that's one of those things where like you really, if you're not careful, you can really be misled, right? Because that could be something if you thought it was your program that was wrong, right? You may have spent a lot of time trying to debug and refactor your code only to find out, oh man, it's getting faster. And do you see the frames are off a little bit, I think. It's kind of flickery. Yeah. How do you play again? Can you play again? Oh, you can play again. Oh, I don't know what's happening now. I think I broke it. It's gone insane. It doesn't respond to Control C though anymore. That's a bug. And it doesn't seem to be responding to window close either. So there's a bug in there somewhere. Don't worry, you just have to close your terminal every time to play it. Yeah, that's pretty fun, man. I was thinking we were not going to get the visual payoff today again. Let's try to play it again. Run space invaders. So something about, I think those backticks, maybe something in the file path. Oh, actually, you know what? That actually makes a lot of sense now if you think about it. If you actually think about what I was sending into the program, let's see. So if you look at the file, or if you look at the sorry, I'm trying to explain why it wasn't working. So if you look at what PowerShell was interpolating the path to, it was inserting characters in here. And I think those probably got passed. That's probably the exact string that we were reading in the program. And that doesn't exist on disk because these characters are not in the file path, or they weren't in the file path. I think those were being placed there as escape characters by, I'm guessing by PowerShell maybe? I'm not really sure. Let's try to move it. Let's try to rename it back to test files, Space Invaders. Oh, sorry, I need the... Yeah, I need that exact file name again. So we'll do NV test files, Space Invaders. I should have, the real mistake I made, and why that took me so long to figure out, the real mistake I made is because I kind of swallowed the error. You know, when you think about it, because I return int here, and then where is it? In the loop where I check to load ROM result, I was literally just doing this. I was just returning the result, right? So I was kind of swallowing the error. Unless I checked the exit code of the actual program, I wouldn't have known. There would be no visual indication to the user that something had gone wrong. So I really do need to add check for return value, print helpful error message. I mean, there's a lot of refactoring that needs to be done here. That's really my fault as far as not figuring it out for a little while. Okay, what was I going to do? I was going to test the file path thing. So if we rename this back to this, a positional parameter cannot be found that accepts argument invaders. Oh, we have to put these in quotes because of the space. Like that. Now let's do it. Okay, then we'll rerun that again. Yeah, I kind of wonder, is this my shell doing that? I don't even know if that's PowerShell doing that. Yeah, those characters was what was screwing us up. What's space? Space is W, and QE moves me left and right, and this one shoots. Okay, this is just so cool. This is too cool, man. I built a program that runs another program, and that program is a video game. That is just too freaking awesome, you know? That's great. I don't know how much further we need to take this. I guess I probably should clean up the Control-C bug. But I don't think we necessarily need to take this much further on stream. I think this can be officially our portfolio project, and maybe I'll clean up the code a little bit and refactor it. I mean, adding unit tests would be probably a good thing. Does anyone know how you write unit tests in C, or what the framework is that you use? I think boot.dev mentioned it, but I don't remember what it is. Also, I don't know why it's doing that. Whenever I try to play again it. Okay. I'm super pleased with today's stream. That's fucking awesome, man. That's awesome. All right, it's 8:15. My son has his birthday party in about an hour and a half or so, so I got to hop off and go make sure I pitch in and help us get all that sorted. But dude, that was a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys suffering through that with me. Like I said, I don't know how much more we'll do on stream. I think that probably wraps the CHIP-8 emulator for stream, and we'll probably go back to boot.dev tomorrow. I think boot.dev we're on Learning Go. ACE unit, GN unit, or C unit. There are heaps of unit. Oh, are they really? I think boot.dev used C unit. I think I remember them talking about C unit. See if I could find a file where they... No, they used Emunit is what they used. I wonder why Emunit. Emunit versus CUnit. Nope, I'm not talking about that in C test framework. There's another one. We use InUnit for C#. Yeah, InUnit's great. I personally prefer XUnit myself. Why it doesn't seem to understand? DuckDuckGo does not seem to understand what I'm asking. C programming language test frameworks. Emunit is just a header file and is better now. So what is it called? Oh, this is it. This is it. I'm looking at it. Documentation. Getting started. How do I say this? Is that micro unit? What's the name of this library? How do you say that? I think that's a unit abbreviation. Micro? I mean, yeah, it's either micro or nano. Micro, I think, is what it is, huh? Micro unit. Micro unit. I'm gonna look like such an idiot because I'm referring to this micro unit. Okay, so there's a bunch of different so really you're just writing C code and you're throwing asserts in there. I mean, they're not doing anything. Let's see, now that you have the hang of the test code, let's look at how to structure the test cases. First, each test case should be a separate function within the following prototype. Okay. Once you have a test case, it's time to put them together in a suite. First, you'll want to create an array of Emunit tests. Oh, so they kind of take like a data-driven test approach or a table-style test. Once you have your suite ready to go, all that's left is to call Emunit main, which will parse any program command line arguments and run the suite. Hold on. I don't think I understand what Emunit suite struct is. Like the test name, the suite name typically begins with a /. So where does this come from? Set up, tear down. My test. So is that just a function? Oh, so you're passing a function. Okay. In the array. Interesting. Yeah, I think I will do this then. I think I will write a set of unit tests for it. Well, that's all I got time for today, folks. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and sticking with me through this adventure while I kind of figured out how to write C. I mean, I think I wrote some of the ugliest programming or some of the ugliest code that I've ever written, but it works, at least mostly on my machine. See you, Bradley. Have a good day, man. But other than that, yeah, I think we'll tomorrow we'll start on the next course in boot.dev. I'll tidy this up and submit it tomorrow, I guess, tomorrow morning when we start. Yeah, so we just got to submit the repo, but the repo is not in the states to submit. So more to come on that. Go ahead and write this all out. Get status. Get. Oh, also we can update our to-do. Make Space Invaders playable. Hell yeah. Success. Thank you, chat. Thank you. Give you a hug there. Get in here. Yeah, hug it out. Okay. All right. I'm out of here. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Saturday, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. If I won't see you tomorrow morning, I hope you have a great Sunday, and I'll be back with y'all then. Okay. Bye. See you guys. Appreciate y'all.